You know, I never had Russell Westbrook's face in the thumbnail originally. It's not until I kept going through the ranking that CBS did for this list where I had more and more questions, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm really confused now. We gotta talk about it. As I keep saying, it's the media members that have a lot of power when it comes to the voting, the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, the All-NBA teams, the All-Defensive teams, the NBA Six-Man Award, the Most Improved Player. This is all done by a select group of media members. When I see lists like this, it gives a huge insight as to who they may be favoring or leaning towards, who they hold in high prestige. I'm about to get into it. Before I do, I'm going to give some fairness to them. I'll read what they put in context before we get into the players they chose, and this is a part of what they said. Before there's any real outrage about where everyone is ranked, we should note this list is projecting the upcoming season. This is our staff's ranking of how we think these players will perform over the next 7+ months. So there you have it. Without further ado, let's get into the top 10 and we can move on from there. They had Nikola Jokic number 1, number 2 Giannis Antetokounmpo, number 3 Luka Doncic, 4 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 Joel Embiid. I'm looking at this 5 they have. Joel Embiid could be a little bit higher. I think it's going to depend on how good the Philadelphia 76ers do. He's definitely going to have the numbers that are out of this world. It's going to be similar to a Giannis. So maybe Shai may drop down a little bit low. It just depends on the OKC's success, what Shai does, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Ultimately, I'm not mad at this so far, right? I think, okay, this is very subjective. You can look at this either way. Moving along, at number 6, they have Stephen Curry, 7 Jason Tatum, 8 LeBron James, Kevin Durant at 9, Anthony Edwards rounding out the top 10 at number 10. I think Anthony Edwards should be higher. I'll start off with Steph Curry at number 6. I don't see the Golden State Warriors making the playoffs. At best case scenario, a play-in tournament. He'll have the numbers, but I don't think the team success will be there. I would have probably put Tatum over him. LeBron James, he's still, look, say what you want about him, he's still 40, doing his thing. Lakers are making the playoffs. I definitely would have had Edwards over Kevin Durant. He just swept them out of the playoffs. And Minnesota had a higher seed than the Phoenix Suns. Now, they are projecting what they believe will happen in the 24-25 season. But in my opinion, Phoenix is not going to do any better than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is still putting up star numbers. Overall, this top 10, it's not bad. This is just my subjective opinion. It's when the list keeps going, and we're not going to go through every player, but I'm going to mention the ones that really stood out to me where it was like, all right, nah, man, now this is getting a little bit crazy. Let's skip to the rankings that they had in the 20s. They put Tyrese Maxey at 24, Kyrie Irving at 25, Dame Lillard at 26, De'Aaron Fox at 27. Ahead of these names that I just mentioned, they had Jimmy Butler at 22, Paul George at 20, Kawhi Leonard at 18. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, is this defense over offense? Because the names I mentioned, Tyrese Maxey, Kyrie, Dame Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, they're all offensive explosions in comparison to a Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and a Kawhi Leonard at this point. But Jimmy, Paul, and Kawhi Leonard, they're two-way players. So if they're valuing two-way guys over these individuals, then sure, I have no problem with this. But if we're looking at it from the standpoint that offense is the gold in the NBA, this is what superstars are really made out of overall, then I don't see how Tyrese Maxey, Kyrie, and Dame, De'Aaron should be behind these guys. But if you value two-way, all right, fine, I'll stick with that. Chet Holmgren was placed at 30. The names under him in the 30s was Pascal Siakam at 33, Jamal Murray at 34, Trae Young 35. This has to be strictly a potential pick. You're assuming Chet Holmgren is going to improve on his rookie season and really blossom into a star, contributing to a winning team with OKC, who's at the top of the Western Conference. If that doesn't happen, then I would put Pascal and Jamal Murray above him at this particular point. Probably Trae Young too, but the Atlanta Hawks may look like a team that is struggling. But statistically, there's no way Chet Holmgren is going to match Trae Young's numbers coming out next year, right? Because Trae Young is still going to put up huge numbers regardless. So that's still a huge debatable one as well to me. This is where the list just goes really, like, I'm scratching my head now at this point trying to understand what's going on. They put Derek White at 36. I like Derek White a lot. Great role player. His defense is amazing, the things he does on that side of the ball while still contributing some offense. But him at 36, I was just like, man, I don't know about that. They got him above Karl Anthony Towns at 38. They got him above a James Harden at 44. DeMar DeRozan's way down there at 53. And I know there's other names out there that y'all are probably saying, wait, Derek White at 36? And what about this person or that person? We're going to continue on with this list. Put a pin in this, though. Derek White at 36. Moving along, they got OG Anunoby at 46. I just said DeRozan was at 53. I don't see OG 46 being higher than DeRozan. Alperen Sengun 47. Brandon Ingram at 50. So Derek White is over at Brandon Ingram. Julius Randle's at 54. Darius Garland's at 55. This was the part of the list where I said I got to put the Russell Westbrook face. I'm very confused. No disrespect to Derek White at all if you're a Celtics fan, but could you really say that Derek White is better than Julius Randle, Darius Garland, Alperen Sengun, Karl Anthony Towns, and DeRozan? It just doesn't make sense to me, man. James Harden at 44. All right, let's keep moving along now. And OG at 46 too. That's another one that surprised me. As we keep going, Isaiah Hartenstein's at 73. You know who he's over? CJ McCollum at 74. Zach LaVine at 76. Tyler Hero ranked 87. I already told you some of the names beforehand that are way above these guys. Look, you could say Zach LaVine, Tyler Hero, they're coming off of injuries. The skill set that they have alone should put them way higher than this. There's no way a Hartenstein should be ranked over Zach LaVine, Tyler Hero. You can't put role players over guys that have been proven to show that they are capable of putting up star numbers consistently night in and night out. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it's not fair in my opinion. Finally, to round off their top 100, at number 100, they had Jabari Smith. Russell Westbrook is not on this list. I want to ask y'all, is Russell Westbrook not a top 100 player in the NBA right now moving forward into the 2024-2025 season? I'm very aware Westbrook is not who he once was. So if you're arguing that he's not, he's just a role player, and they had every right to keep him off the list, fine. But I'm still curious. I'm very curious about that one. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. So my take on all this is their top 25 to 35 picks. Even if I didn't agree with everything that they had with the ordering, I still thought it was respectable in terms of them having a different perspective, and you're not just going to agree with every single thing when it comes to a conversation like this. However, after that 35 mark and moving along, it was just, I don't get it at all. I want y'all to tell me. Let me know if you agree with this list. How would you order it? Do you feel what I'm saying? Hit me up in the comment section, man. I'm here for the debates. I want to know what y'all think. And as always, salute for listening. Peace. And while you're here, look in the description of this video. There's a purchase, an Amazon link for the Kobe Bryant Mamba Mentality book, where he's breaking down the game from his own perspective and what he sees on the court, his trials, tribulations, everything that you would like from a guy like Kobe Bryant. All right, now I'm out.